Hello, podcast listening world. This is the second in the series of Light On, where we shine the light a little further than Leeds. This week, my guest comes from quite a little bit further than that, Vouleme in France, although Katie did begin life in Leeds. Have a listen. For the next episode of Light On, which is the series that spreads the light further than Leeds, my guest remotely connecting me today is Katie Hall. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Hazel.
So, Katie, for everybody listening, can you explain exactly where are you remotely connecting to me from?
I'm currently sat in Vouleme, which is a tiny little village in Vienne, which is a department in Nouvelle-Aquitaine in France.
And how long have you been living there, Katie?
I've been living here since 2012, and I lived about 20 minutes away from here since 2011.
So, Katie, you are originally from Leeds because you're my friend and I knew you when you lived in Leeds.
I am Leeds born and bred.
So what led you, Katie, to end up living in France?
Well, my parents have lived over here for about 16 years, and I was working in the UK, working in the insurance industry, and I just got sick of the rat race. So I decided, along with my husband at the time, that we were going to quit the rat race and move over to France because we loved coming on holiday, and we thought, let's just make our lives a holiday.
And when you got to France, what did you do?
Not a lot. We said, right, we've got our savings. We're going to give ourselves a year to get established, find somewhere to live, find some way of making a living. So, yeah, we did that for the first year. And 9 months into that first year, we stumbled across a little bar restaurant that was for sale, and the rest is history.
But your bar and restaurant was really quite popular, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we operated the bar restaurant here in Vouleme for 5.5 years, and we did all sorts of different dishes, world foods, French food, English food, all sorts, and everybody loved it.
And so you said about moving out there because your mum and dad were out there, and whilst you've been living in France, your dad had a turn of bad health. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, it started probably about 5 or 6 years ago. We started to notice that his memory was going, and we were concerned because his mother, my grandma, she suffered with senile dementia. It took us a long time to get him diagnosed, but we finally got a diagnosis of Alzheimer's. So he's currently been really well looked after in a retirement home, a nursing home here. So yeah, that was a big thing that we needed to deal with. And the main reason why I had to shut the bar restaurant back in 2017 so that I could move my parents in to look after them.
That must have been a big, huge change for you when you'd gone from running your busy business to have to turn everything around for your family.
Yeah, it was a massive decision to make. It was our livelihood, but we'd managed to build up our bank account, our business bank account, and we had a chunk of money. And Lewis, my ex, and I decided, we need to concentrate on family. That's got to be the priority. We're in a situation where we can manage to do it financially. So we took the decision to close the bar restaurant, and my parents actually moved in and were living in what is or was the bar restaurant. So yeah, big decision, but I don't regret it at all.
And how is your dad now?
He's as well as can be expected. He's in the later stages of Alzheimer's, so it's quite tough. I go and visit him with my mum every week, and we always get him laughing. He's still able to communicate to an extent, and he still recognises us, albeit maybe he doesn't realise who we are every time we see him. But, he enjoys our visits, and we have a good laugh. We always try and keep it very upbeat,
Yeah, of course. So, Kate, you must have negotiated quite a lot of different things since you moved to France. You learned to speak the language, didn't you?
I'm still learning. Everyone says, oh, your French is really good, but I don't know. It's a self-confidence thing. I'm like, oh, no, I don't speak fluently, but I get by, no problems. It's fine.
So how did you find the whole thing, negotiating, having a business and things like that? Was there a lot of things that were very different to how you would approach things in the UK?
Well, I can't really say because I was never self-employed in the UK. I always worked for a company, so it was, you just get up, you do your 9 to 5, you go home, you get paid. Coming to France, it's a big eye opener. A lot of people are self-employed. They have a great system where you can set up a business very easily as an auto entrepreneur. Luckily, when we bought the business, the previous owners were English and they had an English speaking accountant that we used and an English speaking lawyer that we used to do the transaction. It was all amazingly simple, actually. And for the first year or two, it was like I was in a dream world. I couldn't quite believe that I was, living in France, operating my own business, and it all came so easily, really.
And how would you describe the differences between sort of your life work balance and life in general in the UK compared to your life in France?
Oh, massive difference. Yeah. Quitting the rat race. I just said 9 to 5, but really I'd be working in the office until 7 o'clock at night and then I'd have to get on the bus to go home. And, it was long days, long commutes. Basically, Monday to Friday was all about work, work, work. And then the weekend, we either tried to escape into the countryside, the surrounding countryside, or we'd be partying with our friends in Leeds. So, it was work hard, play hard. Whereas here, it's much more balanced. Yeah, okay, in the summer, we'd be doing 80, 100-hour weeks in the bar restaurant. But outside the busy seasons, we'd have time to visit the local area, just relax and enjoy life, basically.
It is a very different lifestyle, isn't it, in France? I mean, I can remember I've visited you a few times and it's absolutely fantastic and a beautiful place, but it can be quite difficult to acclimatize yourself, even to things like having to think about what you're going to eat on Sunday because there won't be any shops open, so you
Yeah.
need to be prepared.
Yeah, you've got to really get into that mindset of, okay, the shops aren't 24/7. You can't just bob to Asda at 2 o'clock in the morning to get something.
Yeah.
Supermarkets here, they're open. They've got the set times. Yeah, some are open Sunday mornings, but if you miss that Sunday morning opening, you've got nothing until Monday. It takes some getting used to, but I think it's definitely worth it because they've got that life balance. Nobody wants to be working 24 hours in a supermarket. Why would you do that?
No. Yeah, I think you're right. And so during the whole coronavirus debacle that we're still in, how's that whole time been for you?
It was absolutely devastating when we got forced into that first lockdown. As I said, we'd closed our business in 2017, but in December 2019, we were preparing to relaunch the cafe, and we actually relaunched on the 1st of March. And then we got
Of all times.
yeah, yeah. We had a great day. Our relaunch party was so successful. We did a week and a half, excellent trading, and then the French government announced that all bars and restaurants were to close, and then we all got put into lockdown. So that was really devastating for me and for the people, that were helping me with the project. It was a massive knock. And I just thought, oh God, what's going to happen? This is my livelihood. My mum had moved out specifically so that we could relaunch the cafe and also to be closer to where my dad is. But she's at like 30 minutes away from me now. I'm thinking, how am I going to look after my mum at such a distance if I'm locked down? And so it really, oh my God, this is a nightmare. Having said that and having lived through it, I feel like I've taken a lot from that time, that forced captivity, if you like, to work on myself, work on my project, and just really to take a step back and reevaluate and say, okay, well, this big major things happen, but I'm still coping. So if I can cope with this, I can cope with anything. It's really fortified my spirit, I think.
Oh, I'm really glad to hear that. And I totally get what you mean. I mean, I go through ups and downs with it all. But when I'm feeling on a good day, I think it's nice to have time to sort of stand back and be looking at things from a different perspective.
Definitely.
And so during that time, have you formulated plans for the future? Do you feel able to do that just yet, or does it still feel a little bit risky?
I'm definitely working on my plans. I've got things bubbling, away in the background. Obviously, I've got to wait and see whether we're going to go into another lockdown. At the moment in France, all bars and restaurants are still under a forced closure, so I can't relaunch that at this stage. We're currently under a curfew as well, and we're looking at possibly going back into full lockdown. I've just got to keep my fingers crossed that come springtime, we'll be able to be coming out of it and looking at pushing things forward. So basically, I'm working on my project, hoping that coronavirus is going to skedaddle soon, but I've got
Hmm.
plan B in place as well.
Can you tell us a little bit about any of your plans?
I'd love to share that with you. So basically, when we were forced to close back in 2017, that coincided with me getting really into meditation. I was practicing yoga, really getting more connected with what I'm all about and what my aspirations are. And at that time, I started to develop some ideas. I'd been reading an open university course on environmental issues, and I got really into that, really obsessed. How am I going to save the planet,
Set yourself a high target.
Yeah, definitely. All of these ideas would come in, and I'd go into my little room where I had my sacred space, and I'd sit in meditation, and then I'd get all these like really great ideas coming through. But anyone who knows me will say, oh yeah, you've got hundreds of ideas, but are you ever going to act on them? Well, yeah, Rome wasn't built in a day.
That is
So
true.
4 years on, I've made quite a bit of progress, but there's still a long way to go. Basically, the gist of the project is to create a retreat for people to come and enjoy nature, learn to love nature and to protect it. And especially what I'd like to do eventually, if we get the funding, is to open it up to kids that live in cities, disadvantaged kids that don't necessarily have the access to nature, so that they can come and get all the benefits of being in nature. Because where I live, it's just so beautiful. It's magnificent. I'm in the valley, we've got the river, our land actually goes onto the river. There's beautiful walks, lots of wildlife. And I just want to be able to share that with people, and especially with people that don't usually have access to that kind of thing. So the whole project's based around that. Having a little cafe where I can serve vegan and vegetarian food, because for me, I had friends here that were vegan and they got me into that. And I think it's a great way of protecting the environment to at least cut down our meat and dairy consumption, if not cut it out altogether. I was vegan for about a year and it was great. It was fantastic learning all these new recipes. But I did miss certain things, and I've started to eat eggs and I have a little bit of cheese now and again. So, I've come to the stage now where it's not about being really harsh on myself, like, no, you can't have that, you can't have that. We've all got to have little treats, and especially during these stressful times, just be kind to yourself. And if you fancy a pizza with some cheese on, go and get a pizza with some cheese on.
I'm glad to hear you say that because I very often fancy a pizza with some cheese on.
Oh, I love pizza. So there's the cafe side, which we relaunched in March, as I say, and it was a vegan vegetarian cafe. And I'm really into using local producers, organic ingredients wherever possible. We've got a great network of organic producers, and there's lots of websites like click and collect websites that you can use around here. So I'm
Yeah.
constantly trying to network with people in the region, and build up a list of contacts for when I do relaunch. I can approach all these local producers and say, do you want to come and supply the cafe? I'm also going to open a little shop. I'm trying to establish a zero waste shop. I visited a really good one in the UK last time I was over there, so that's really inspired me as well. What else? We've got a gîte which I let out. Obviously, last year we didn't do much trade because of coronavirus, but we did still have some people coming in the summer, and it's all riverside and with beautiful gardens. One major thing that we need the funding for is so that we can welcome big groups, schools or associations, charities, that kind of thing. I'm working towards creating some cabins or maybe gypsy caravans, some really nice, unique holiday, how would you say?
Places to stay.
Yeah, exactly. Because I've got quite a lot of land here, so I can probably establish 3 or 4 little unique glamping pods, if you like.
Hmm.
I've got a friend who's helping me with the project, Matthew, and he's a carpenter. He's just great at constructing things. He's already built, I've got 2 dry toilets, composting toilets that are going to come into use once we reopen. And he's just getting, cracking on immediately, which is great.
Has it been really nice for you to have this as a focus during this difficult, sort of very fallow time for you?
Oh God, yeah, definitely. Yeah, to have something to focus on and to stay passionate about, and just a reason, for getting up and getting on with things. Yeah, definitely, it's been a lifesaver, really.
I'm really glad to hear it. Are there any things that you missed about Leeds?
Oh God, yeah, I do miss Leeds. I miss the architecture. I miss the people. I miss my friends and family. It was just great living and working in Leeds, that kind of mixture of different cultures. I live in a tiny village now. I'm surrounded by French people that, although I do speak French, there's still a bit of a language barrier, a cultural barrier. Whereas in Leeds, it was just, a big melting pot of all the cultures, and, there was always something going on. So I really miss that side of things. But I can get a little dose of that if I go to the bigger cities. Where we are, we're really well placed between 3 of the big cities of the region. We're halfway between Poitiers and Angoulême, and then we've got Niort going out towards the west as well. So I'm in a really good position, and I always tell people that Vouleme is really at the centre of the universe.
Of course, it's because it's where you are.
Exactly.
Well, I can definitely attest because the times that I've come to visit you, we've gone to all sorts of fantastic places. One of my favourites, it was years ago because it was when your nephews were still quite small. We went to Valley de Songe.
Oh yeah, love it.
Oh, I loved that place. It was amazing.
Yeah, Monkey Valley for those that don't speak French.
Oh, of course, yeah, Monkey Valley, yeah.
Yeah, basically it's a conservation project, and they've got monkeys from all over the world, all different apes, monkeys, lemurs, But it's not a zoo, they're not in cages, you actually are walking amongst them. The bigger, dangerous ones like the gorillas and the chimpanzees, they're on little islands so that they can't actually get to you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but you're walking along and you just see like tiny little monkeys in the trees, like really near you. It's quite tempting not to knock one into your handbag and
Yeah,
take home.
oh, it's so amazing. I love it.
I saw one of the best things I've ever saw in my life there, and it was a fight between, I think it was a bonobo and a duck.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Do you
No, it
remember?
was a chimpanzee. I remember it was the chimpanzee.
Yeah, and he was trying his best to not let this little duck get to the reeds, and the duck obviously had a nest in there, and this chimpanzee was just running up and down with a stick, trying to scare it away. But in the end, I think because she was a feisty little mother, the duck actually won.
Yeah, yeah, that was classic.
Katie, I always ask guests, usually on my Light on Leeds version of the podcast series. I mean, I'm sure you could answer those just as well, but seeing as you're in Vouleme, can you tell me what is one of the best things about Vouleme?
One of the best things about Vouleme is the fact that we're in the valley and the river is running through, so there's a really great energy. Nothing stagnates, we're constantly being replenished by the energy of the river, and we're surrounded by woods and just beautiful nature. It's the nature.
And would you say, if you had to pick something, what would you say is the worst thing about Vouleme?
Well, being on the river, we do get flooded from time to time. So
Yeah,
there is a floodplain, but the river does like to come into my garden, which can make it quite difficult, but only for a couple of weeks in the year, nothing to worry about majorly.
that's not too bad, is it? And would you be able to tell people, because I'm pretty sure, I mean, I'm sure the people of Vouleme know them all, but in Leeds, say somebody decided to come over for a visit, which they definitely should once they're allowed to again, what would you say was a hidden gem that people might like to come and visit, although they might not hear about it in guidebooks or anything?
My hidden gem, my favourite place to go and meditate is a little spot on the river, and it's just behind the Moulin, which is the watermill at Charente. And basically, it's just a beautiful spot where the water's really clear. I mean, it's clear everywhere, but there's something about the moss on the stones in the river. It gives this beautiful, magical feeling, and you're surrounded by the trees and you've got squirrels and butterflies. It's just magical.
It sounds it. And I always ask guests if they know of anyone in their area that have a song that they'd like to feature. And you might be featuring either of two, is that correct?
I would like to feature two if possible. And
Yeah.
both songs that my ex Lewis, we're still married, but we're separated. We were really great friends still, which is awesome. We came upon this adventure together and we've really stuck together throughout it. So Lewis Hall has written some amazing songs. He's got a SoundCloud page, and the two tracks that I'd like to choose are Downtown and also a song called You Got It Right.
Brilliant. Well, I look forward to hearing those, and I'm sure everybody else will too. And what will you be doing with the rest of your day today, Katie?
Today I will mainly be unpacking boxes because my mum's moving back to Vouleme. So yeah, I've been helping her with the move. So I'm unpacking boxes, getting ready for that. We've got a new kitchen going in for her so that she can keep her independence. So yeah, busy, busy, busy.
Well, that's good because it'll keep you occupied and out of trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much for coming along and talking to me. I'll put links to Lewis's music, and as soon as you have websites and things like that all set up, let me know and I can edit the podcast page and we can put them in there. And when we're all free to move, we can all descend upon you and learn all about the ecology and, nature in Vouleme.
Excellent. I'm just working on setting up my crowdfunding page. So yeah, if you could put a link to that, that would be awesome.
I certainly will. Let me know when you've got it.
Thank
All
you.
right, take care and I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers, Hazel. Bye.
And who's doing inspiring things in Manchester and Sheffield? All will be revealed. Light on a journey of discovery through Bristol, Hull, and Coventry.
It's always great to catch up with my friend Kay, and I'm so excited about her plans for the future. Check the podcast notes for links and enjoy the two tracks by my excellent musician friend Lewis Hall. Enjoy!
Well, the words just left my mouth. Can't believe what was coming out. My girl, you've been my savior. And my time machine is on the blade. Gotta live with the way I've been. There's no turning back from this. Well, the world's made of complex things, just a rock in which we live. It's a journey we all must share. time machine is on the blade. Gotta live with the way I've been. There's no turning back from this. You got it right. You showed me the light. Now I always sleep at night. Perhaps now I'll get it right. Remember New York City, stayed in Chelsea. You love to walk and smell the flowers in the Highland Park. Then in Central Station, the Whispering Gallery, we laughed and joked and loved to watch the whole world go by. You got it right. You showed me the light. Now I always sleep at night. Perhaps now I'll get it right. You got it right. You showed me the light. Now I always sleep at night. Perhaps now I'll get it right. 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 Perhaps now I'll get it right.
She lives her life in the city. The things she sees, they ain't pretty. The days they come, nights they go. But it all seems so slow. There's a man with a pen that is all talk, don't you know? It's like a mellow soap opera, but the characters are proper.